Hello everyone! A few years ago I got into mechanical keyboards world, and the first keyboard was from a big brand which is Corsair, and it is Corsair K70 Rapidfire with ceramic speed switches. So without further ado, let's roll out! Okay, so we can start from the things which you found in the box. So one of the first things you'll find in the box is this wrist rest. It is made from hard plastic, but it's quite good to use. However, I don't really like it. I'm not super fan of it. I used it, but I'm not super fan of it because, firstly, it attaches with these clips, which are not that comfortable as magnetic wrist rest. Also, it is, it is quite short wrist rest, so it's more like a maybe palm rest and not wrist rest. So this is about the wrist rest. Also in the box you get plastic keycap puller and some extra keycaps. Now we come to the keyboard. The build quality of this keyboard is really good. It has a lot of weight to it. I really like the design. It's like minimalistic approach to keyboards. The design is, of course, as you see, floating switches design because it don't have bezel around. I can say that I like the bezel around the keyboard because it protects from the, like the hand comes from the side, it protects the switches. I feel more like protective approaches with the bezels. But this approach lets you to wash the dust a bit easier, like with compressed air or something. But now, talking about the build quality and its materials, I can say that this material is aluminum, as you see. It's brushed aluminum, but I don't really like this material because it attracts a lot of dust. So if you want to keep this keyboard nice and clean, you have to clean it quite often. However, when you go to the keycaps section, I can say that the keycaps are the worst part of this keyboard because they are not only ABS. Like ABS plastic is quite good in some cases, like if you buy GMK or from Max Keys or from those kind of companies, those ABS plastic, they are like really thick and really strong. But these ones are like not very thick, it's like thin walls. And the worst thing is that it really attracts dust and moisture, and after using it for a few days you will see a lot of like leftovers from dust and moisture. So it really doesn't look good after using a few days. One day I decided to change the keycaps. Of course, the decision was also quite drastic one because I played Battlefield 5 and suddenly the S keycap of the stock Corsair switches just broke. So I was like, what? This mechanical keyboard should be perfect, but it's like, it just broke. So Corsair quality control of these keycaps are like really mediocre. So I would suggest to buy aftermarket keycaps if you own one of these keyboards. And as you see, I bought the same switches as I showed in the another video, which is HyperX pudding keycaps. So they are quite good, they are PBT and much better than stock Corsair ones. So from the keycaps to the switches. The switches we got on this keyboard is Cherry MX Speed. I will show you maybe with this switch. So yeah. So as you see, the color of the switch is silver, and what makes the switch outstand is its actuation point, which is 1.2 millimeters. So Corsair advertises it that it helps in games, but as I tried this keyboard for 2 years, I can say that maybe and maybe not, because even this switch lets you to actuate it a bit sooner. They made it a bit heavier. Like they say the actuation force is 45 grams. I believe that, but they are not saying anything about bottom half force, which is a bit huger on the switch. So it feels a bit heavier. So I don't really like that because it is heavier, it is more scratchy, and it forces you to bottom out a bit sooner, and that makes you to change your typing experience a bit. So overall the Switch is okay for gaming, but not very nice for typing. So yeah, do I recommend it? I just can say that it comes to personal preference. Before buying this keyboard, I would recommend to try the Switch. Like, if you will buy it, you will be okay with it, you will get used to it, you will get used to the weight of it, you will get used to the actuation points of it, and the bottom out point of it. But if you have an opportunity, I would recommend you to check if you really like the Switch. So that's all for the Switch. Now we'll come to another topic, the typing demonstration. So the sound of switches is like, they're quite silent. They are not that silent as some other switches, but they are one of the more silent ones. I could say that sound is not very different from Cherry MX Red for Gator Reds, but the feel is different. Like, you can feel that it's a bit heavier, a tiny bit heavier. Yeah, it's a bit heavier, switches. Now the stabilizers. You see that the stabilizers are like quite good. They're not the best ones. Like on Air Pro 2 they are a bit better. Like on Air Pro 2 they are very good. On these, like, it's okay. It's usable. Like maybe the one that has a bit more rattles spacebar. Like this side is good. This one is a bit rattly. This one, yeah, the right shift is also a bit rattly. The enter is a bit rattly. But over is like, it's quite good. It's not very rattly. So the build quality of the Switch stabilizers are better than mediocre, I could say. So about lighting, I can say that the lighting is used in the Corsair software, so they are not some like stock, you know, on the keyboard stock lighting modes. So I can just show how bright the LEDs are. So we just will plug in the keyboard and we'll check the LEDs. It's like, you see, this keyboard has like 2 USB. One is for the keyboard and another one is for the pass-through, which is on the side. Okay, so we just plug in the, yeah, this one is for the keyboard. Yeah. So yeah, we see that the LEDs are not too bright. They're like, I could say that the other keyboards I have has bright LEDs. These ones are quite dim. They're like not very bright. I know it's more like a personal preference, but when you have a bright LEDs, you have choice to lower the brightness. And here you have the choice only to have the stock ones. Of course, you can change the lightness like this, but you see the brightest one is not super bright. Of course, these keycaps makes it a bit brighter, but as you see on the spacebar, it's not very bright. So the LEDs are like mediocre. So the other features, the main outstanding point is the scroll wheel, which lets you to increase, decrease the sound. There are also some media buttons. Also, this keyboard has USB pass-through bias mode switch, which lets you to change polling rates. Also, this keyboard has flip-out feet. It has like 2 modes of it. You can make negative tilt, which is like nice for ergonomics, and the normal flip-out feet, like the normal tilt. Also, tilt is to the sides, so it makes keyboard to be very sturdy in the flip-out feet mode, as sturdy as in the normal standard mode. So that's really nice. Also, this keyboard has braided cable. Of course, I would like it to have maybe the detachable one, but you know, like most full-size keyboards has some like fixed cables, because usually they also have the USB pass-through, like this time. So yeah, I think that's the other features this keyboard has. So what are the cons and pros? So the main con is the keycaps. Like, the keycaps are not good on this keyboard. Also, what I don't like is that the wrist rest is not long enough, you know, like it could be longer if you want to call it wrist rest and not palm rest. Also, maybe what I don't like is that LEDs are not that bright, so you don't have a lot of options when you want to increase the brightness. Also, what I don't like is maybe, I don't like the bottom row, because as you see, I changed a lot of keycaps. I had to buy 2 HyperX putty keycap sets because I wanted to fill almost whole bottom row, but still you see that control keys are not like standard ones, because the bottom row of Corsair keyboards are not standard, so I don't really like it. I would like that Corsair would make the bottom row standard so you could use whatever keycaps you want. And of course the stock keycaps are quite mediocre. Maybe the spacebar is a bit better. I quite like it. And now, talking about pros of this keyboard, the main pros is the build quality. It's built like a tank. I really like the media keys. I really like the scroll wheel. Very useful thing. Quite nice. Also like the USB pass-through, the BIOS switch, which gives you some flexibility, some choices. Yeah. So, and switches are quite good. If you want like very fast actuation, these switches are quite good for that. So yeah, so that's that. All I can say that this keyboard is good if this is one of your first keyboards. It's a good start getting the mechanical keyboards work, because you get genuine cherry switches, which may be not the most satisfying, but they're like a safe approach for newbies. You know that it's made in Germany, you know that it has checked by time, you know that it's quite sturdy. So yeah, and I think it's good keyboard for gamers, because it lets you to have actuation a bit faster, so you can use that trick in games. But it's like you won't feel a huge difference between stock mechanical keyboard and between ceramic speed switches. There's not a lot of difference. So that's all for this video. Like if you like it. If you didn't like it, write in the comments why you didn't like it. Comment what kind of keyboards you use. Do you also have K70 Rapidfire? What are your experiences with it? And subscribe for more content like this. So now after the video, I will leave you with the typing demonstration. And see ya people next time.